And away we go. Here we go. Do you remember what that's from? And away we go.
I do not.
It's a Woody Woodpecker cartoon. When he keeps trying out the brooms, the witch keeps trying the brooms, and away we go. And away we go. You guys
with the real skinny legs. She had the real skinny legs, right?
Yeah, the real skinny legs. She kept trying to find a broom to go, and away we go.
He understood that it's an upper body business.
That's what Ruth says.
And you're ready. It is an upper body business.
Upper body business, Steve.
So here's the deal. We're gonna venture into something that I'm super pumped about. It means a lot to me, and it's our first little nudge into the Hollywood area. Is we're gonna go Rushmore of rom coms, Rushmore. Hold on, I'm prepared. Woo! Except there should be an S there.
Shout out Ric Flair on that.
Yeah. So we are rom coms. Rushmore. Okay. So Tommy, since you're wearing the tank top and you look like you're in a rom-com right now, that you look like you might roll up on somebody on a beach.
Hi.
Like Hank Azaria in Along Came Polly. You might roll up. You for scuba, you start right
Well,
now.
brother, for me, when it comes down to romantic comedies, I got to go back to my childhood. I got to go with one of my favorites, and There's Something About Mary. There's just something about her. You got that on yours? Did I steal one from you? I swiped one?
But that's okay. I got back
good. Yeah, There's Something About Mary. Farley brothers, who are from my home state of Rhode Island. As a kid, it was always just so cool. I mean, if you're from Rhode Island, there's not a whole lot going on in the world of entertainment. So it was really cool as a youngster to see the Farley brothers doing their thing. And that movie is just so damn funny. It was kind of like that early era of like shock comedy where they wouldn't cut away. They would like show you the crazy thing. Like I remember, the Ben Stiller's stepfather there zips himself up in his pants and you actually see it.
Frank and the Beans.
Yeah. I mean, like
Frank.
They wouldn't cut away. They would just show you it. The old lady, you see the old lady with her boobs out. Like, whoa, it was just like crazy absurdity. Really funny. Have you seen my baseball?
Have you seen my baseball? To me, still to this day, one of the best characters ever on film, Matt Dillon in that movie.
Absolutely. It is. Absolutely. That was a theater movie too. I saw that in the theater. I've only seen it once, but laughed the entire time. For me, it's like, especially the comedies and rom-coms, it's like you gotta be really fucking funny, right? You gotta really knock me off my socks, right? And I feel like that movie in particular, there's not a dull moment. You're constantly laughing. It's organic. Cameron Diaz, it was her coming out party, right?
She did The Mask before it.
Okay.
That was her big one, but they really were. They did Me, Myself, Irene and all that. It's Farrelly Brothers or Farrelly Brothers?
People say Farley or Fairley. I think you can kind of,
That was on my list. I've seen it. Mona and I mean, we quote it every day, hundreds and hundreds of times. It's to me, it's as good as it gets. Not to take another title of a romantic rom-com. All right, D, you're up. What do you got?
Oh man, rom-coms. I mean, I really got to dig in my bag for these, man. I'm not a crazy rom-com guy, but I do have a few that I go to pretty regularly. And to top that off would be Coming to America.
Oof, so good.
It really is.
McDowell's.
How about Sam Jackson's first, or not first, but one of his earlier, small roles?
He plays the Robert.
Yeah. I mean, peak Eddie Murphy.
Peak Arsenio, peak Eddie Murphy, and Eric LaSalle at his best.
Soul Glow.
Yes, Soul Glow. And truly, like everybody, it's a comedy, but it is a romantic comedy. It's all about him and her and their relationship. Nobody ever considers that a
I was going to say, Demetrius, that's a cool pick because I wouldn't have, in my mind, I just wouldn't have categorized it as that off the bat, but it really is, in essence, a romantic comedy.
Yeah, and it was way ahead of its time too. Again, it's like peak Eddie Murphy, right? It's
John Landis, right? John Landis directed.
Louis Anderson with a fun.
Louis Anderson.
killed it.
Yeah,
and Eddie, and remember, that's pre-Nutty Professor. Eddie's playing like a bunch of roles. He's playing the barbershop guy.
I was getting ready to say that. That was like the predecessor for Nutty Professor and everything else, man. And it's like you gotta realize too. It's like, you know, Eddie Murphy's coming off Saturday Night Live. He's coming off Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, Golden Child. Like 48 hours. He's literally, with probably the exception of Michael Jackson,
rocket ship,
the biggest star in the business at this point.
And how about the comedy series too? You know, like Eddie Murphy Raw. You know, like
Raw. How about Party All the Time? It's still one of my favorite songs.
With Rick James.
Renaissance man, guys. Eddie Murphy was a Renaissance man.
A Renaissance man. He did it all, and he dressed like a G. Yeah,
so yeah, man.
He's a rarity. I'm going to stick right along that, and one that people don't really consider a rom-com, and I think it's easily one of my favorites for my first. I'm going with The Wedding Singer.
Nice.
I had that in mind. That was number 2.
The Wedding Singer is definitely not one that people say. Steve Buscemi stole the movie in his small role in that. Self-taught. It's an incredible film that has just, again, I was saying this, I think I don't know if you and I said this, movies aren't that quotable anymore. Like we don't quote movies the way we used to. Like, you know, like we've named a few right now that you can pull. You can tell most people a quote from Coming to America, from Something About Mary, from Wedding Singer, and they'll know the movie without you saying what it is. I don't like trashing new stuff, but that just doesn't happen anymore. You don't really do that. And Wedding Singer, to me, like I can call up Mona, and we always start our conversations with a quote, and like you'll know what it is. He'll start laughing like right away. And those are 3 movies that I do it with. So it's really interesting that we just pulled like 3 of the most quotable movies as our first 3.
And rewatchable.
All the time, and finding something new in Wedding Singer. When he looks at his friend, he's like, "What do you think of the jacket?" He goes, "I don't know about that, but you look like he goes, "The glove makes you look like a lunatic," or whatever. Yeah. It's like there's so many really amazing parts in these movies that, again, you could watch 20 years later. Because I mean, Coming to America is what,
88. June 88.
Come on.
It was the second biggest movie of 88.
Wow. I wouldn't.
And that's with crazy. Big. I mean, there was a lot of Good Morning Vietnam, a lot of good titles that came out that year. But yeah, it was the second biggest movie of 88. So
over 30 years old.
Yeah. And you know what? Also, too, is like what I do like about rom-coms. I mean, and this is within gangster movies or anything, too. It's like, especially the 3 we just said, is you can pop in at any time. Like it could be 20 minutes, it could be 50 minutes into the movie.
Yep.
Sit right down, get a bowl of popcorn, and you're right into it, you know?
Yeah. You don't have to be like, where am I? What happened? What's this? What's that? Like, you know, a lot of the 3-hour movies now, if you go run to the bathroom, you're like, I missed the whole movie. I missed everything. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, another thing on The Wedding Singer, too, is what I thought was really cool about it when I first saw it is that was probably the first movie about the 80s that wasn't in the 80s. Like it was a throwback 80s movie, which was really unique at the time, because I think we're talking like what, late 90s, maybe in 97, 98, somewhere in that wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So it's pretty unique that, you know, mid to late 90s, here we are doing a throwback mid 80s
like
movie.
85, yeah.
Soundtrack was incredible, by the way.
Soundtrack was incredible.
And again, Adam Sandler gets to showcase his music abilities in the movie too, which is fun. You know, She Fucking Hates Me or whatever that song.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And a cool cameo by my buddy John Lovitz pops in there. Always hilarious.
When I first moved to Los Angeles, I was probably in LA maybe 2 months, and I was working on a music video. And Drew Barrymore was actually shooting something right next, a different film, but was shooting right next to where we were shooting a music video. And she was outside on a smoke break. I was outside taking a break, whatever. And I marked out so hard. I mean, of course, you know, I played it cool and calm, but like inside of me, I'm like, holy shit, I'm in LA 2 months. I'm talking to Drew Barrymore. She's like America's sweetheart at the time.
Yeah.
I immediately think of like Firestarter, things like that. And it's just like, I mean, it was just a pretty surreal moment to kind of run into that type of star power within like a couple months of being in LA.
I just did her talk show when we were doing Emily, and I literally told her, I was like, you know, there's certain things throughout your childhood. Like she was on that like Charlie's Angels like run and all that. Like as I was, you know, because we're around the similar age, and I was watching this like massive comeback. And I was like, she's such like she went through it and then just came back. And again, we always forget, like she's in these classic films. You know, they did some other ones like 50 First Dates, which I also like, by the way.
Great movie.
She's a great movie.
Oh, she's a sweetheart too. Really nice person.
She's the sweetest person.
Yeah, and of course she's legacy. She's Hollywood royalty. She's Hollywood
Barrymore.
She's interacted with
Lionel Barrymore.
Interacted with aliens before, you know.
Yeah, E.T. One of the great, and she's terrific in that movie.
Right.
Involved in E.T.
Terrific in that movie. Yeah, she's terrific in everything. And she's a great, and the good thing is she's an amazing person. So yeah, that movie has it all. I got to tell you, before we go to number twos, I would say on those three movies that we just named, if I made it like without me knowing, if somebody like in another dimension calculated the amount of hours I've watched movies and what my top 10 were, I bet you those three are in the top 10 of movies I've seen hundreds of times. Like that's what we used to watch when I was in college and stuff, like all over and over and over, because you had
tons of replay value. Tons of replay value.
All right, what do you got for number two, Tommy?
All right, number two. This is a this is a good one. I don't know if it'll be on everyone's list, but I'm a big Tom Hanks guy, so You've Got Mail. I'm throwing on my list.
Interesting.
You know, You've Got Mail. It's just it's a cute movie, man. I like that movie. All right, it's a romantic comedy. It's a classic formula, and I like it too because it's like kind of cute to think that there's a whole movie based on the uniqueness of emailing people and like having an internet.
But does it have hold up value now?
Internet relationship, you know?
Does it have hold up value?
You'll just have to check it out and find out for yourself. Come on, Tom Hanks always has hold up value.
Listen, I'm not knocking Hanks. I think anything he does, but I'm just saying that one.
Hey, listen, it's my Rushmore, not yours.
And that's all that matters. And I bet you a lot of people have it on theirs. All right, D, we're gonna.
That was a quick one, guys. I got to be honest.
It was a quick one.
I love you, Tommy. That was quick, man.
That was a Rushmore.
Well, at least I picked a romantic comedy. You're picking Eddie Murphy comedies.
Yeah.
It's true.
Hey, he gets
Rocky. My next pick is Rocky. I'm gonna put Rocky down there.
Rocky could be a romantic comedy. It's funny. I agree.
Number two, man. I gotta go. I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off Tom, but I'm gonna go Tom Cruise, man. Jerry Maguire. Show me the motherfucking money.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's I would never have put that in a rom-com. Never.
That's a rom-com, dude.
And of course it is.
Is it though?
100.
Oh, come on.
Is it?
It's funny.
Chat right now, so we can have everybody answering.
Yeah.
That's
how much was my headway? How much is my headway? The kid. It's funny. There's funny stuff going. I mean,
I don't know. It's fun. It's definitely funny, but I think it's a drama, personally.
What about Bruce the Boss? He made his comeback off the soundtrack, and I mean, it was all about.
I'm interested to think if people would consider that a rom-com. I know I do. It seems quite obvious that Tommy doesn't, but he might be butthurt over You Got Mail.
I think it's a receipt.
It's not a receipt, man. I'm just being honest. Let's see what the Rushmore.
Don't worry about the interwebs. All right, I love that pick. Woo, I love it. It's such a good one.
It's a phenomenal movie. Listen, anybody who writes a pamphlet in the middle of the night and walks out of the office, goldfish, they've got me.
It kind of gave us our first glimpse into the sports world and agency, agents and everything. Tom Cruise showing his
people playing themselves, that kind of thing. You had other things like that. What's his name is tremendous in it.
Cuba.
Yeah. He's so athletic.
His name is Rod Tidwell in that movie.
Rod Tidwell.
Number 85.
That was the beginning of his ascension, man. Woo. I mean, he was really on fire.
Didn't he win he won an Oscar for that?
He
won Best Supporting.
He did.
He did. Yeah, he did. Oscar for that. Wow. Yeah. Incredible. I forgot about that because he did the dance. He did the dance when he won it.
Yeah, he totally did.
It's like Jack Palance did the push-ups.
That's actually like one of the more memorable Oscar wins. Like,
of course.
Like he went nuts up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well deserved, man. Well
deserved. All right. Wow, that was really good. I'm thrown off now. I got to think of mine. I know two of them. I'm gonna go clean and simple. I'm gonna come back on a Hanks one. I've watched it tons of times. It never gets old and surely isn't dated. Sleepless in Seattle is his relationship with his son and his son trying to set him up, and Meg Ryan's at peak, all her superpowers. It's peak Hanks, peak Meg Ryan. And they're mimicking, the other movie, the old school movie where they meet at the top of the Empire State Building, and it's going to kill me that I can't remember it. But it's just got all of it. I mean, he spends so much of the time on the phone, and then you're still compelled to every word of it. And again, it's just peak Hanks, and it's funny, and it's I think easily top for me. I could watch it over.
Yeah. I Sleepless in Seattle is definitely. I think that's going to be on a lot of subscribers list. It's to me. I would have that in my top 4 too, if you wouldn't have called that in Wedding Singer. So I have to improvise over here.
You gotta improvise right now.
It's got a great title too. I think a key to a lot of romantic comedies are the title, because like really, who's the major market for these movies? Just like a lot of couples just like going out to see something quick. They don't want to really be thinking about it too much, and it's like Sleepless in Seattle, nice title, flows, works. For me, my next pick, I'm gonna bust out the Italian American me and go with Moonstruck. I think
classic.
You got some great performances in there from obviously Cher, but also Nicolas Cage won an Oscar in that movie, and he's just so iconic. And I think a lot of times Nicolas Cage is kind of, he's become a little bit of a punchline over the last 10
Not
years.
Anymore.
Or so.
National treasure, man. Like we talked about.
Never. I will take no Cage disrespect from anyone ever. He's like top 4 for me.
The bottom line is, a lot of the younger Rushmore watchers who maybe haven't seen that one, if you watch Nicolas Cage in that movie, it's like you're watching a different human being. It's a true character that he plays. So love that movie. Great soundtrack. And
great soundtrack.
Man, Cher, what about Cher? She never ages. Never ages.
She killed it. She killed it in that movie. I don't give that movie enough pop. It's a great movie, and I definitely don't give it enough. I know it cleaned up, but I don't think it has like for some reason it doesn't have the longevity of like the Pretty Woman's and all that and stuff like that. But it definitely, I know a lot of people everybody loves that movie.
Also written by John Patrick Shanley, who also wrote Danny and the Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, my friend Aubrey's doing Danny and Deep Blue Sea on Broadway right now, starting next month. Her and Chris. Damn, I can't remember. My mind is shut off. But Chris is doing it too. I can't remember what. But yeah, they're doing it, and I'm super excited for them to take that on. Yeah, great pick. All right, D, what do you got?
87, 88 was really good for rom-coms. I'm going to have to go with, kind of a sleeper on here, but a comedian who is a comedian genius and has been doing this for 50 plus years, Steve Martin and Roxanne.
Wow, that's an odd pick. I like it.
That was a cool movie.
I did not. That's a Rushmore pick.
Yeah, woo. I really like that movie. I watched it so much when I was a kid. I know it's a sleeper, but
I always say this wrong. It's based on
that's the one he has the nose, works in fire department.
Cyrano de Broziac. I always say it wrong. Cyrano de Broziac or whatever. Roxanne is the story. It's a retelling of like a centuries old story.
Yeah. No, I you know what it is? It's like I spent a lot of time the summer of 87 and 88 watching that movie because it was on a loop on HBO. It was
I remember
always on HBO. So I just, I fell in love with it. It's a good film.
It's a great movie. I didn't expect it to be on this. It's great only because, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking of it in the right. Almost like Jerry Maguire, and it's such a great movie. It's like one of the movies you want to watch again.
The nose plays in that movie.
Yeah.
The nose plays. I'm gonna pivot. I had one on my list. I mean, obviously there were some said, but I'm gonna pivot only because I gotta make sure, because it's almost like like we said about certain songs, sometimes they're so big, like Tupac Changes, that you don't realize how great they are because so many people know it, you know. But I refuse to end this or even come close to ending this Rushmore without Julia Roberts being on it. So it has to be Pretty Woman because, again, there's the great show on Netflix. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, called The Movies That Made Us. And
I love that show.
It's so great. And the journey of Pretty Woman, like how it started, it was a lot grittier. It was not a rom-com. It was like a straight up drama, that script, when it was written. And, you know, all the stuff with, you know, and the studio to be able to be like, wait a second, she's playing like a hooker and we're going to get her to do this. And we're going to get, and the movie took over the world. When you talk about world-changing films, that film solidified Julia Roberts. It solidified like rom-coms as the thing for the run after that. They had a big run after that movie. And I think that it just changed things. It's one of those like James Dean type, Marilyn Monroe type, like Pretty Woman's one of those things you see the picture, you know, everybody has seen it. And it's a great movie. Everybody's gonna, it's got like dramatic moments. George Costanza's amazing in it. Jason
Alexander's
he's
great
amazing.
Title, great song, Roy Orbison.
Great song.
And how about this too, guys? How about the fact that the classic makeover scene has been parodied a fucking 1,000 times?
Yeah.
In so many other movies. To me, that's influence right there. Like when a scene in a movie is parodied in other movies and television shows multiple times, you did something right, you know?
Yeah. And my wife
is that peak Julia? That's
peak
Julia,
the beginning. That's the beginning of the reign.
Yeah.
That's before Pelican Brief, before American Sweethearts, Best Friend's Wedding. Like that's.
But what I'm saying is, would that be her peak performance? Like I know it was the beginning of her ascension.
That's her most famous movie for sure.
I think you got to go with, but like Erin Brockovich, she won an Oscar.
No, that's Pretty Woman's the most famous movie. She's
right, but I'm saying, you know, like definitely, but Oscar.
Oh, but if we're talking business-wise,
yeah,
like
that's
business,
what I'm saying.
If you're talking like Hollywood business insiders, people say her best acting is in other stuff. But you're talking about
iconic-wise, no question.
Her most viewed is Pretty Woman. That's gravestone stuff for her. Like that's it.
Nobody's gonna say Flatliners.
It's a great movie, by the way. I saw that in the theater when I was a kid. I loved it. It's
cool. It's cool. Aaron Keeper were
great idea. They tried to remake it. It was atrocious when they tried to remake it, but it was I love that movie. I was a big Kiefer mark. You know, I'm a huge fan of his. You know, I got to tell you too, with Pretty Woman. I mean, Richard Gere was, you know, that's all the superpowers at that time. He's like doing it, like he was top right there and just killing it. So the movie had everything going for it and they got everybody in it. But if you get a chance, watch The Movies That Made Us on Pretty Woman. It's terrific. Yeah. So that's mine.
I love it, man. I think that's going to be definitely on everybody's list.
I would think majority.
Yeah. That one's iconic. It's one of those movies where there's a lot of movies where you can kind of just close your eyes and see the poster. You know what I mean? There's not a ton of movies like that. You almost can kind of like that one. I can distinctly see in my mind. I got a Julia Roberts movie for my next one too. I'm going with My Best Friend's Wedding. Very fun movie. Dermot Mulroney up in there. Cameron Diaz again, like right at the height of her Cameron Diaz-ness ascent. And of course Julia Roberts trying to get her man back in that movie. And it's just really great. And I think sometimes like movies connect and hit differently when you're at different places in your life too, when you watch them. And for me, I was, kind of a kid watching, like I have an older sister. She could beat me up when I was little. So she controlled a lot of the movies that we would watch. So I was like, all right, we're watching this. And I'd be like, all right, fine. It's one of those things where you put it on, you're like, I'm not going to like this. This is for girls or whatever. And then 10 minutes in, you're like, all right, I kind of like this movie. Like, I'm in,
I got to agree with you on that. Definitely.
I'll tell you something crazy. D and I just did a movie that D produced and I starred in, and Dermot's in it. And my wife was like overly excited. And I was like, you know what I just realized? I haven't seen My Best Friend's Wedding. So right after we finished filming, she said, you have to wait for me. I came home. we sat down and I watched it, and I was like, how have I not seen this film?
There's that iconic scene where they all sing together in the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a great moment, great movie moment, you know.
Great movie moment. And again, made bazillions of dollars, was at the top, you know, just really, Dermot's terrific in that movie.
He is.
Terrific.
He really is.
And Cameron Diaz steals there. It's great. It's a great movie. Great pick. Great pick. All right, go, dude.
Wow, man. So where we at? We're number 4 right now?
No.
Like what number was this? Number 3 or number 4?
I think is this 4?
I think so. I think we're
zooming through them today.
We're zooming through. Oh, we have 4? No.
Yeah, we're at 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I had Coming to America. I had Roxanne. And I had Jerry Maguire. But I don't know. It's not considered a rom-com. So
no. It is to me. You'll win with that with me. Okay.
I think for my 4th one, I gotta go in deep in the bag. This movie's I've seen quite a few times. This was like peak Omar Epps, man, and I got to go with Love and Basketball.
My
man.
sister's favorite movie.
Nice.
I knew it. I was waiting for that one. That's a tremendous film.
It's so
Omar
good.
Killed it.
So
good.
How about his character name was Quincy in that, and it was Quincy and Juice as well too. So yeah.
Q. Yeah, that's an amazing film. I would bet a lot of it literally is my little sister's favorite film. You know, she loves everything about it. So it made me like, that's when I was like, all right, I'll watch it. And I did a movie with Omar. I'm a huge fan of his. He kills it in everything.
He really does.
Kills it in everything. And again, just like Drew, we were saying before, he's also like one of the greatest people. So it's like certain people you just want to see win and be great. And he's like, he's just a great person. I like that.
Thanks, man. How about that? It's like the beginning of the WNBA too, so it's kind of like, it's women's basketball is really starting to, kick off. And like,
when did that start? WNBA?
I think it started like, when 96? Was it 96?
Yeah. I want to say 96 was
and
the first.
Love and Basketball was 2000, I believe. So I just, being
Lisa
a girl
Leslie,
dad,
that's when Lisa Leslie was playing. Like that was the beginning. Yeah.
Yep. Cheryl Swoops. Being a girl dad, it's one of those movies that I'll definitely introduce her to sooner than later. But
my sister's a head college basketball coach, so we were like, that was like, and that's before when she was a player was when that movie came out, and now she's a head coach. And
wow.
Yeah, and again, so you could see so it's definitely a great,
Yeah, and what's also interesting about it too is that you have the relationship with her. And I think, Omar's character, Quincy McCall, I think is his name, right? You have that relationship, but you also have the relationship with her and her mother kind of trying to, see eye to eye and kind of, it's like coming of age story, so yeah, I'm with Love and Basketball. All is fair in Love and Basketball.
Yep.
Union, good performance in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I got my 4th. And I was debating between 2. There's one I'm leaving off that I'm kind of whatever, but I could solidify it with this one because, again, it's a bit of a holiday movie. Obviously watched constantly. It's an incredible romantic comedy because it's not just one relationship; it's a ton. No, I'm making a mid talk switch. I can't leave one.
Wow, you're switching gears like that? Are you swerving like that?
I'm swerving. I just made a mid-talk switch in my head. I just thought about it. There's no way I can say that one over another one. Okay.
All right.
So there's no way I could ever leave Notting Hill off the list. I can't do it.
That's a cool choice. I love that movie.
I've never seen it, bro. I've never seen it.
I mean, I didn't see it. I don't know. It wouldn't be on my personal Rushmore.
It's on mine.
I think I saw it. It's one of those movies that I've seen. I saw it once, enjoyed it, and then it left my brain. You know what I mean?
I worked with Reese. Reese is hysterical in it.
That's Hugh Grant, right?
Hugh Grant is unbelievable in that film.
And there's the funny guy who played the kicker in that movie.
Reese.
Replacement.
Yeah, Reese. I did a movie with him a long time ago. He's nuts.
I remember that performance specifically out of Notting Hill, and just
when he answers the door in his underwear. Yeah, I mean, he's unbelievable. D, if you get a chance, because it's such a good film, like it's it's really funny, but it's a really good movie, and it's about the movie business a little. So you kind of dig it. Yeah, it's about the movie business.
Man.
And I won't say what I was. I think you know where I was going when I left off, but it would be right behind. It would be Love Actually, but I don't want to take anybody's. If they did say it.
It's a good call. It's a good call.
Love Actually is great.
Great. That's where I was going, and I realized that Notting Hill is easily.
What year was Notting Hill? When did that drop? When did that?
I want to say 99. I'll look it up.
2000, 99, 2001. I could be wrong, but somewhere in that 3-year span.
Yeah, 1999.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, terrific. Terrific, but just a good movie, like about life, and like they have this whole thing between them. So yeah, that's there, and the choices you have to make, and it's got that really big ending that everybody's so excited when they leave the theater. I'll
add that to the queue for sure.
Would you say it delivers on the finish, brother?
Totally, the best finish ever. You know, it's again any movie back then. And it's not even that long ago, but like, you know, a good movie, it's especially rom-coms, running through the airport or run into the car, or like you got to get there, you know, because if you don't get there, my best friend's wedding, running through the airport, a lot of stuff we're talking about, you got to get there. And it's that.
There's always a sense of urgency. There's a great sense, a desperate sense of urgency at the end of the film.
And the audience is like, oh my God. And then it's someone that looks like them. And, you know, me and my kids were watching Home Alone 2 last night. And it's like that same thing, the bait and switch. And it's just.
Why don't we do a quick round of honorable mentions? We'll each bust one out there.
I like that idea. Go ahead. Kick us off.
Well, now I'm on the spot. I don't have one.
Love Actually is mine. I already said mine. So that's my honorable mention.
I like that.
You know, I really do like, we mentioned it earlier, but I think 50 First Dates is a great movie, kind of a cool concept, almost has like a little bit of a Groundhog Day type of.
Yeah. That's a good one. Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Groundhog Day is a great movie as well.
I mean, that's a good one. That's
great. I would have never saw that coming.
Yeah.
Great movie. And great pick for a rom-com because it is.
Yeah, Groundhog Day is another one of those like sideways kind of rom-coms. I mean,
people might not consider that a rom-com, but it might be the same people that say Jerry Maguire is not a rom-com.
Exactly. You got to define your terms of what. See, you know, to me, like rom-coms are just kind of like simple-minded. You know.
Well, let me ask you this: is because if I'm going to have an honorable mention, actually, this would probably supersede Roxanne, to be honest with you. But you know. Hindsight's 2020. I know hindsight's 2020. Is Meet the Fockers? Is that a rom-com?
No, but it could. In a world, it could be. I thought about that. Meet the Parents, you mean the original?
No, Meet the Parents, the original one, not the
sequel. Don't have opposable thumbs, Focker. Yeah. That's,
what about John Cusack holding a boombox outside of a girl's house?
Of course, say anything is easy.
Say anything. You try that shit now. Let me tell you something. If I were to go to my ex-girlfriend's house right now and stand outside with a boombox, I'm getting a restraining order on me.
You'd have the fuzz up on you.
She's not letting me in.
We didn't tackle any John Hughes movies.
That's interesting.
No, we didn't.
No. 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink.
No, because I think, I mean, are they? Those aren't traditional rom-coms. They're not. They have love aspects. Like my kids and I watched Uncle Buck the last Friday. It's like there's love in it, but it's not a rom-com.
Yeah,
you know, like American Sweethearts is a rom-com.
Yeah, like that's definitely a rom-com.
Yeah. So no, I like it. You know, here's the deal. You know what it is. Now we got to go. When you watch this, at one point, as you join the Patreon, you'll get our reverse Rushmore of rom-com, and I'm planning on going in.
I already got mine ready to go.
I'm going in on those because there are some god awful ones that they put out there and try to convince you they're good. So we're gonna go in on these.
I think we got to address the pink elephant in the room though from yesterday's episode.
Freddie Mercury.
How do we forget Freddie Mercury? How is that possible, man?
I think it's Tommy's high. I think it's drugs.
You know, I don't know. Down to this is a tough game to play, man. It really is.
Rushmore, and then your mind gets all. We don't write stuff down. I don't write anything down.
It's the spontaneity, which is great, though. The spontaneity kind of that's the key. So.
But I mean, here's the thing. Like, let me ask you guys this: who would you kick off your mountain and replace?
I'd have to take off Chester. I'd have to take off Chester for Fred. I mean, Freddie's the greatest. I mean, arguably one, if not greatest front man ever.
Yeah,
So
definitely greatest vocalist.
Oh,
Definitely
but just the whole persona. So listen, we're not there. This happens. It's gonna happen a lot more. Roxanne might be talked about in the same way after this.
So as You've Got Mail. That might get kicked out.
that's
I got a lot of heat. I got a lot of heat.
Definitely a rom-com, guys. I'm going to the grave with that.
That's getting heat. No, we'll hear. Let's hear what
I bet you think Die Hard's a Christmas movie too, Demetrius.
It is. It is. All right. Patreon for the reverse Rushmore. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, subscribe. We're building something here. Let's do it together. All right.
Yeah, appreciate the support, peeps.